Hi there, my name is Debbie, and today we are going to learn how to do a painted edge for rolled flowers. Very simple process, very quick, but I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks while we are doing this painted edge rolled flower. So the very first thing we need to do is insert the SVG of the rolled flower, which I've already done here. You can use any rolled flower that you like. This happens to be my preferred flower. The very first thing we're going to do is click on it. We're going to duplicate it. Now there's two ways of being able to duplicate. We can right click on the flower and click duplicate here, or we can click on the flower and click duplicate over here in the top right. Doesn't matter as long as you've duplicated it. Then what you need to do is, while it's still selected, the second flower, is click over here under operation. We're going to go to draw and pen. Yes, I know we're going to be using a marker, but that's what we're using is draw and pen. I'm going to change this over to red right now because we're going to be using a red marker to draw the flower. We then click and drag the flower back over top of the other one. To make sure that we have them exactly lined up, your best bet is to go ahead and zoom in on your flower. Now the zoom is down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and you just click on it. When you move your mouse away, it mostly disappears, but when you put your mouse on it, you can see the zoom. So we're going to move our flower back over top of the other one so that you can no longer see the black line of the first flower. I don't see the black line, so we're good to go here. So I'm going to zoom back out so we can see the whole flower. Now what we need to do is select both flowers. One that's going to be drawn, which is called pen, and the one that's basic cut. So there's several ways to do a select all that is on your page. To do select all from your keyboard, you can click on the control button on your keyboard and the letter A. That selects everything. As you can see, both of the items are gray. That will select everything on your page. Even if you have 10 or 15, 20 items, it doesn't matter. It will select everything. That's the whole point. You can also click and drag over top of everything. So you left click your mouse and drag it over top of your item, and that will select it all. Again, it's grayed out so you know that it's selected. You can also click on one item, go over here on the right where you see the two items listed, click on control again on your keyboard, left click on the second item, and you have both things selected. Now if you had a whole list of items here and you wanted to select an item up here and an item down here, it would be a really good way of doing it is clicking on the one, clicking your control button on the keyboard, and then clicking on that item. So just a few little tricks there. Once you have the things, both of the items selected, you go down here to the bottom right and do not group them up here on the top, but you're going to attach the two items. Now we know they're attached because when we move the item around, you don't have one item or another, you just have them both moving. Plus you can see that they're both grayed out, and you can see the word attach up here. So you know that we have them attached correctly. So now we're going to click on Make It. By the way, I use a 7.75-inch flower because I use 8-inch wide cardstock, and I find that this fits the best on it without having to go off the paper and so on. And I like the size of the flower when it's completed in its roll. So now you can see we're only on one mat here instead of two because you're not drawing on one mat and cutting on another. So over here you can see too that it says pen and basic cut. So it's going to do the pen drawing first and then it's going to do the basic cut. So we're going to click on continue. I'm going to be using light cardstock today, 65 pounds. So we're going to click on that. It's one of my favorites, as you can see. If you can't find that, you can always do browse all material. You can go up in here and type in 65 or light cardstock and it'll come up for you. So I'm going to click on there. I like to have those in my favorites though, the light cardstock, because these are the ones I use quite often and it comes up easier for me. So now you can see that it tells you when you're loading material that you have load pen in clamp A. And what I'm going to be doing is using an adapter so that I don't have to use a Cricut pen or marker, because I find that they're a bit dear or a bit expensive. So I can use any marker I want if I use the adapters. In the description box below, I'm going to put a link to adapters that I found on Amazon. You don't have to use that link. I don't get any money from it or any kind of help from Amazon for doing this. I'm just trying to find an easier way for you to find it. So you're going to load your pen into the clamp A, and in clamp B you just use your regular normal 45-degree fine point blade the way you would when you use any other cardstock. And basically that's it. Now we're going to go over to my Cricut machine. I have a Cricut Maker. And we're going to go and do the cutting and drawing so that you can see what it looks like when it's doing that. Make sure you give me a thumbs up when you get to the end. Thank you.
Okay, so here we are going to do the actual drawing and cutting of the rolled flowers that have the painted edge, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, here we go. So the first thing that my Cricut does is it decides to do the draw first. I have installed the adapter for the Strattler pen, marker I mean, and as you can see it is drawing the rolled flower, just as it would cut it. So instead of you sitting here watching something that you watch every day, I'm going to pause the video until we get to the cut section. Here's a little further along in the drawing. And here it is finishing up with the draw. There we are. Goes over and protects the knife blade. And without doing anything at all, it goes in and starts cutting. Guess you can't see it, but you can see that the marker isn't touching the paper now. If you look really close, without getting dizzy, you can see that it is actually doing the cut now. I'm going to pause it again until we get to the end, and I'll show you what it looks like once it comes off the mat. Okay, now it has finished the cut and the draw. So I'm going to pick it out here, pull it up. Forgive me, this is not easy to do with one hand. And there you are. That's what it looks like when it's cut and drawn. Now when I roll it, I haven't got my quilling pen handy. Here it is. Sorry, excuse me. I'm new. I roll it towards me so that the marked edge goes on the inside. And I use a glue gun, excuse the mess of it, then I put the glue on this section and just press it down, and I'm done. I hope you enjoyed it.